Today I saw X-Men Apocalypse. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. I'll just say I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. And yes, that's a higher score than I gave Days of Future Past. I feel like when this movie came out, I heard a lot of people saying it wasn't very good, like it was the worst X-Men movie, besides X-Men Origins Wolverine, of course. But I don't know, I thought this felt like a normal X-Men movie, besides all the cast being different. Really, the biggest problem was with the continuity, as usual. This entire movie makes no sense in the timeline they set up at the end of Days of Future Past. And that's honestly really stupid. Even though I didn't like Days of Future Past, I thought the ending was good. They should have just left it at that. I mean, honestly, the sooner Marvel gets their hands back on the X-Men rights, the better. So they should just stop making X-Men movies. Come on, Fox, just make a deal with Marvel like Sony did. You'll still make money out of it. I won't really go into details about how the continuity is so messed up with this one, so I'll just give like 2 or 3 big examples. Angel is in this one, and he's like a teenager, but so is Cyclops and Jean Grey and Storm. And in X-Men The Last Stand, when Cyclops and Jean Grey and Storm are adults, Angel is a teenager. So unless Angel doesn't age, that makes no sense. Also, Storm is suddenly from Egypt. I don't think Halle Berry is Egyptian. And finally, this is like one of the biggest things that doesn't really make sense, although I guess it's not as much a continuity thing as it's just something that doesn't make any sense. X-Men First Class takes place in like the 60s, and of course a bunch of characters from that movie are in this movie, which takes place in the 80s, so they would be 20 years older, and they were already like 20 in that movie, so they should all be like 40, but in real time, when these movies were filmed, the actors have only aged like 5 years. Really, by now in this movie, Magneto and Professor X should look just as much like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart as they do Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. The next movie, because apparently they're still making movies, is called X-Men Supernova, and that takes place in the 90s, and I assume they're still going to use Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, but the first X-Men movie took place in 2000, so I assume it takes place in around that time, which is less than 10 years after the next movie is probably going to take place. So by then they should look almost exactly like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. How are they going to explain that? Here's a hint, they're not going to, because they just don't care at this point. There's so many other continuity fuckery things I could say about this movie, but it took me all day to edit yesterday's 9-minute video, so I'm just gonna leave it at this. So tomorrow I'm going to finally see Logan, and I'm hoping that's gonna be great. But then again, X-Men Days of Future Past had great reviews, and that was like the second worst X-Men movie I've seen so far. But I have high hopes for Logan. I think it's gonna be great.